Testing. And let me put some music on. Actually, let's run the game in the background. Where did I put OBS? Okay. Don't need that. Okay, so I've been working on the save game a bit. I don't actually know why I am, but there's an issue. I don't remember how I found it, but it's about the converting of the old save games to the new save games. And I'm testing the response. The game can't load a previous one. Yeah, that's what I was going to do. So I will reject the loaded save file on purpose for now to test the error message. So I will just turn 0 here. Okay, that's less loud. Okay. So if the game calls recall, it will fail, and then it will hopefully display an error message on the landing screen. So yeah, I'll have to close this for a second. And do release build, and then copy the old save file. And then see what happens. So it gives me a continue, but if I press a button, it said cannot load save file, and it started a new game. It should probably not start a new game on its own. The error message was okay, but it'll appear right where it was in the previous screen. So I'll have to move it. Okay, let's first turn on a bit of background music. Let's first go into main. Let's look at the recall call. So if this is 0, I return 0. And this then returns new game. But it should it shouldn't. Should return a landing screen. Does that make sense? No, not really. Should return just land. Okay. Let's just try that. So if I now rebuild this and then copy this save again, just to make sure, start this, press continue, and then it says it can't load the file. That's pretty good. Player can still stop and start a new game. And let me start that again. Let's see. Okay, it didn't delete the old file. That's good. So let's position this message. And that is in render messages. There I have a switch. Well, now it is a switch. This was default. But I need a landing screen. So let's say it's it's twice the size. Not sure what the font size on the landing screen is. Maybe I see it here somewhere. No. Then it has to be here. Okay, it's actually just a normal UI size. What am I doing anyway here? Okay, this is just height. Let's try UI size. Maybe that works. Yeah, I'll have to rebuild this. Okay, why is it jumping now? That's weird. Height. Let me turn on some music. Only have parents right now. Be gone. Okay. What is height? Is that scale actually? Oh. Oh, it's the offset. And that's this. So I can't actually scale the messages. How does that work? Is that set here? Oh yeah, there it is. Let's put this in here. And that was this. So the default is normal UI scale, but if it's a game or a test, great. Let's put this. Test is then default and game as well. So let's do it this way. Remove the default because that's confusing. And pass it in here. Okay, but it's still, the font size is correct now, but it's still jumping around. That's weird. Was it jumping to the default? If I press a button, it might jump to another mode. Only if I press it. So it jumps to the default that's on the bottom. And then it jumps up, which is the landing screen mode currently has. So there's something in main. If I return land here. Oh man. So this is a state machine that holds the modes of the game. And this is the switch function that switches between the modes and has it sets up things, tears down things depending on which mode you're changing to and from. And I have this, yeah, it's all about the recall function. So it swaps the tiles to game, calls recall that fails, returns. And let's see where it's actually coming from. It's turn game U land. Okay, so U land, landing screen update. It sets the new mode if I press continue. That is here. It sets the new mode to load. Oh, it sets the current mode to load and wants to jump into the game. Yeah, and then what happens is it comes in here, switch mode to game, from load. Loads the game, it's null, returns land in the switch mode function, which is here. And then it's that split second. Okay, I get it. So this should actually go. Should probably go in the continue button action. Let's just try. It's here. So if load game is 0. Return land, otherwise. Where was it? It's here. Otherwise this breaks, falls down, returns 0. Did this really not return anything? Or the load game function sets something, probably. Okay, that's spaghetti code. That's not good. Well, actually it doesn't. It returns a 1. So yeah, that is just checked. Return land, return land, return land. Otherwise, well, let's just try it. Okay, cannot load. That's okay. But if I start a new game, exit, it doesn't overwrite the old file. What's going on? Oh, I'm stupid. That's because I reject all of them. Let's make it so that only the versions below the current one are rejected. There's the return. Here's the version. If version is less than, is it this? I think so. Oh, I have to update this, I think. Yes. Okay, I just updated. Okay. Makefile couldn't know this. Okay. Let's copy the makefile again. And then let's run this. Okay, I have a bad makefile. Try to start. It says it cannot read. That's good. Start a new game. I save. And then I can continue with the new save file. I mean, I think it's not the end of the world if the player loses their save file while the game is still relatively short, but that becomes unacceptable pretty fast once the game grows. So yeah, I'm trying what I can right now. There should maybe be a prompt here if I start a new game, that the game asks me, do you want to overwrite your current save? That should probably happen. Yeah, that should actually happen. Let me put that on the list. The list of things that grows faster than I can tick it off. So when choosing new game, there must be a prompt to overwrite the current save. Okay. Let's move the error message. That was in render.c. And let's move it somewhere down near the bottom and to the right. That's pretty good. Okay, let's call that done. For now, at least. This shouldn't be here. Okay, let's think this through one more time. I'm loading a save file. I have its version. And the first thing in the save file is the position of the hero. Hey Andre, how's it going? Welcome back. Did you update Debian? Yes, and then I downgraded it again because I need the glibc version. But I compiled OBS by hand, and that's running now, and it's running okay until now. So let's see if that holds. So if I load the save file, and first thing is the player position, and I load that with in the function load position, and I check the save file version, and right now I just pass through and load everything. But in the future this might be save file 14 and then load special stuff and then convert to new one, to new version. Don't know what load special stuff means, but convert to the new version and then return. And then I can say the default is return null because I don't support this version anymore. That would break here, return null and fail. So this actually should work. But actually that's not the case. I should reject everything that I don't convert. So I reject everything under the current alpha build less than 15. And then I start converting because I can only convert before I release. But this sounds okay. I'm not sure if I should still keep the save file version different from the game. I think not. Don't think I should. 'Cause I mean, it's irrelevant here. It's just 15. Version. Where do I have a version? Okay, it's just to print it. Okay. So I have the safe version that are set here. And I don't use. I use it in save. What? I write it. So let's use the version here. Remove this. Remove this. Remove the settings version. Or maybe I should convert these settings as well. Probably should. Hey Diego. No. Didn't miss anything. I'm just bug fixing the make files a bit. Okay, that's not what I wanted to open. I want to turn down the music for myself a bit. Yeah, I'm consolidating the versions. So before stream, I cleaned up the make file. I had this FTP file with a script that I used for uploading stuff and for editing the website, but I moved all that in the make file now. So that's one less file lying around, which is good. I cleaned up the commands in the make file, so they should all be better. And I actually wanted to try the publishing, but I'll do that in a second. So grep settings version. Is that? Yeah. Okay, that's in file. Right settings. So I'll have to convert them. But I mean, those are just integers. So I can just, do it in this file. Let's say this is a version. If it's not the version, incompatible settings file. Yeah, this is bad. So let's remove this. Read settings. Set default. Ah, yeah, okay. So if it can't read the file, it sets the defaults. So that's just music and brightness. And what is B game? Oh, that's the brightness. Brightness of the game, volume of the sound, volume of the music, and that's it. And writing is what is it doing here? Or just the, oh, that's it. That is the version. Okay. Okay. This is much better. I feel a little weight lifting off my shoulders because this is much simpler. It's just one version number controlling all the files, and then I'll have to handle loading the old ones. But if I want to add something to the settings, then I'll stumble upon this and I'll have to manage it. Maybe I'll add a comment here. Okay. Still using bmake. Okay, versions not used. That's fine. Is set but not used. Okay, that makes sense. I mean, I don't want to reject the settings file because it's always been the same. So let's avoid it here. Okay, let's load the old save file just to test it again. Okay, trying to continue, cannot load it. Using a new, starting a new game. Well, it should actually clear the message. But that's, I mean, it's confusing, but don't think I have a clear message function, and that's another rabbit hole I won't go down right now. But I should note it. Clear the messages when switching between game modes. That's mprog. Okay. Let's save and exit and start again and continue. And save and continue and save and exit. This yeah, seems to be working. All right. Reduce to single version. Why did it check out the make file? Automatically. What is this magic? Okay. That's crazy. Anyways, Next thing on the list is weapons. Let me look at the to-do file. So this was yesterday actually, but I didn't have time. Balancing food and gear, consumables and ammunition. So wait, I wrote something down. Is it this afternoon? Something to do with the weapon levels. Bet I didn't write it down. Oh yeah, it was giving the weapons a roll stat. I'm not sure, but I remember something else, but let me check my notes. Maybe it's in there somewhere. Okay, what do I have? Decreased supply drop chances of spawn markers. Well, we'll have to wait. That might destroy the balance. Create missing interiors. Yeah, sure. Remove spawn does not work. Oh, that's still a problem. I should actually fix that. Finally. Trees have tiny stems on the laptop. That's a bug. Fix horizontal alignment of the death reason. Oh yeah, that's a bug with the kerning. Fix monsters running away from the hero. Yeah, they do that sometimes. Don't know why. The hero cannot throw across traps. So these are all bugs. Remove cannot use shield when stuck. That's when standing on spiderwebs. Increase chance of traps. Well, that's increase monster health more along the path. Increase monster health every 2000 turns. Matrix chest is always at 0. Okay, that's also a problem. Then mouse cursor does not move out of the way on Windows. Pressing the home button on the controller on Windows doesn't pause the game. The game doesn't pause when the controller is unplugged. But yeah, I should print a message. I mean, the game doesn't have to pause, it's turn-based. And yeah, the last two things I added a minute ago. So when I look at this, I feel like I should probably fix those first before continuing on the game. But they don't, I mean, some of these are related to the balancing, but they are more thoughts that I had while playing the game. But the rest is not related to balancing, or the game is actually all technical or bugs. But one thing that really is bad is the thing that spawns don't disappear. I should probably look at that. There are a couple more here. Save file is not compressed. Actually, I can check that off. No, I can't. It's still uncompressed. Traps and webs don't make a sound when you roll a boulder over them. And there's sometimes there's audio clicking. There's a I think it's a buffer underrun. But it's only sometimes I've noticed, and that's on mostly on the debug builds. I have to monitor that. And using the analog stick, that's a tricky one. I've tried to solve it before, but it only made it worse somehow. So if I jump into the game, and I move the analog stick, then I can just like with the D-pad, it completely mirrors the D-pad right now. So there's no X to move anymore. And if I swivel it, then I get these erratic movements. I mean, one way to circumvent that is just making the game hard so the player doesn't do that because they might die. But yeah, it's basically diagonal movement, but because I can only go in cardinals, it does this dance. One way to solve this would be to make the diagonal edges dead zones. So if you move the thumbstick there, nothing happens. But that also means there has to be a big dead zone in the center. So that only if you press the thumbstick all the way to the north or east or south or west will the character move. It might actually be the best solution. Not sure what I've tried earlier. I tried locking it to the axis as well. But so if I move the thumbstick in a circular motion, what would then happen with these large dead zones? It would probably trigger move down, move right, move up, move left. So that could actually work. But I'd have to look in the input code for that. Quite a busy 2 weeks ahead for early alpha release. Yes. It's been busy already, but yeah, it'll get more busy. But it's fine. This is fine. I just had to think of the dog sitting in the burning house. It's not that bad. It's the game is what it is. I think I made it clear on the Steam page, so I hope people don't get mad if it needs a bit more work. Let's look at the input.c file, and I need... Oh god, I haven't looked at this code in months. Okay, here it is, I think. Return the direction not actuated Q sort. Most actuated. Okay. Would that solve the problem? That might actually solve the problem. Wait, what is happening right now? So if I all the left stick, so it's... Yeah, this whole function. So x-axis. If it's greater than 0, so if I push it to the right, it's east. Okay, that's easy. But then what is this? If button... If the button is on. If the x-axis is on. And when is it on? Oh god, this is the... STL stuff. Advanced button, okay, that's something different. Where do I get the button axis from? Oh, that's actually not an input. That's in... X11? Hello? Where else could it be? Oh, is it in sys system? There it is. Okay, handles access event. So that's the head switches. That's D-pad. And this is the... Oh yeah, these are the triggers, and this is the left stick. So if the axis is more than 50%, then the button is set to on. And does that create fighting? Maybe if I set this higher, set this to 90. I need free space. Yep, this actually solved it. That was easy. Okay, the stick doesn't work in the menu, which it probably should. Let's try 80. Maybe that's better. Okay, months of typing bmake. Will follow me around for a while. But yeah, this is much better. I mean, it's still possible to get weird, but let's move it up to 90 again. Let's go somewhere better. Here. Okay, I can still do that. But I can do that with the keyboard as well. Or with the D-pad. But I can't go diagonally. So that's good. Make status. Fix erratic left stick behavior. Okay, that's done. It was a quick fix. That's good. Or is it? Yeah, yeah. Yeah, let me look at the spawns, because that's really destroying the game balance. Talking about balancing the game. That's my excuse now. So the problem is if I go somewhere, there's a good dungeon somewhere where I can show that. Oh, actually, how's my bitrate doing? If I go into the editor, I really think that I contracted ADHD. It's not normal. It's good. Okay, so the problem is let me think, the rectangle around the player where the entities are loaded in is relatively small. So if you leave the area and come back, entities respawn. So you could farm these vases by just walking away, coming back. I explicitly remove the vases from the game once they are loaded in, so they don't come back, but they come back. So that's the problem. Playing the game, if you want any chance of reaching the last path stone, you need a better drop rate of meat or more mushrooms or some other food source. Yeah, I'm working on that. The version that's online is quite old already as well. Diego, do you have a Windows machine? Because I could make a release, but I can't test it on Windows right now. Because I'm streaming on the PC and I would have to reboot. But if I would upload it, could you test if it works? Because then I could make a release real quick and then you can play the newest version. I've been meaning to test that anyways. The publishing of the game, uploading it. So I'll do that. So spawn fixing in a second. But first let's make a 20-30 minutes. Yeah, that's fine. I'll need that time anyways. Take your time. I just need someone to check before I... So I'll give you a link to the zip file before I write it on the website. And I just need someone to test if it works before I release it to the public. But yeah, it'll take half an hour. Let me turn on my backup machine. Awesome, thanks. I'll go to the bathroom real quick. Thanks for the sub, Adrian. And Mango, if you're here. So let's play a quick session to see if it works. And let's turn off the Music. Turn this up. And okay, I think I removed the settings file with a make clean, so that's okay. So I think it was yesterday. Yesterday I thought this was a bit too hard, but not too hard. That sentence didn't make any sense. It's a bit too hard, yeah, but not that much. In the beginning, at least. I'm not in the... I haven't gotten to the end game. Great. Probably won't with this run. Oh, there's a medicine. That's coming in clutch. Okay, I can walk around this jackal. Could also throw a stone at it. Okay, there's nothing, of course. Oh, there are spiders. That might be it. Okay, there's a troll. Can maybe wake it up, then crush it or something. Oh. Why did it wake up immediately? I think I think some time ago they didn't wake up. That was stupid. Okay, snakes are pretty deadly. But I struck it first. Health potion, that's great. Medicine, nothing. Some food. So that's pretty good. That was also lucky. And it also stepped into that trap for me. The snake did. That's something to... something to bash monsters with. Uh-oh. Okay, I have 2 medicine, so that's not too bad. And yeah, they didn't get to me. Then I walk into a trap, of course. More to eat. So this is actually a pretty good run. I mean, I only have 1 potion. Only 1 medicine, but I have 2 food. It's pretty good. From a... So this is all in the context of balancing. I'm not talking about my performance. Okay, that's 3 portions. That's maybe a bit much. Problem might be that I have these concentrated spots, like the dungeons. Can actually squish that one. That have many items to loot, or many boxes. Loot boxes, if you will, without the transactions. So if you have more of those on your path, naturally you'll get more stuff. It's okay, in V12 ring +1 was quite useful. Yeah, the rings are pretty awesome. The shields as well. So much so that I might have to nerf them. But yeah. Okay, that's where I came from. This time I actually remembered. And that's also how I want the game to feel. But I talked about that at length already. Okay, there's a bit... Could be more going on here, but I think it's these narrow paths. So one problem the game has right now in terms of generating stuff is that it picks the tiles at random. What it actually should be doing is not counting all the tiles where you can't walk. I think that makes mathematical sense. Does it? So it's scattering random points all over the world, but only some of them might land on the path. But if I only iterate tiles that are actually there, then I'm guaranteed to have placed something every X tiles. Does that make sense? I think that makes sense. That's how it actually should be. And I think I can do that. It might be a bit expensive. You better understand the idea. Yeah. I have all the tiles, so I can just flood fill all the patches and then walk them one by one to place stuff on them. I might actually have to try that out. Try placing spawn markers only on patch tiles. Still randomly but contained something like that. Okay, so yeah, this is pretty stacked right now. This is annoying. Okay, that's where I came from. There could be more going on, but that's how it is sometimes. Okay, that was close. Also, right now the potions don't improve in value in the amount they heal. So they diminish in value, which is actually not bad, I think. And the health increase across the across the path is not that extreme. So that's fine, I think. So I should put an interior in this house. If I get to that eventually. It's on my list for before the release. Together with the secret rooms in the overworld. So much like in the dungeons, I want secret entrances, kind of secret, hard to see entrances. For example, there could be one here, which with a tile that marks the door, but that's pretty inconspicuous. If I, yeah, I mean, if this bitrate stuff is finally dealt with, then I actually have plenty of time. Oh. Bitrate is stable. Yeah, thank God. Thank God. Because it's been kind of keeping me up. Because I hate things that lie around and are not addressed, problems that are not addressed. But yeah, I have so much to do. There's bound to be some of them that are left behind a bit. Okay, I think this is okay. Oh wow, okay. One shot kill by the spider. Okay, let's think this through. I changed the make file. I gave it better commands. So I can do, I should log into the backup. Because it shuts down automatically after an hour. About the hidden paths, they're cool but a little hard to find between starvation and enemies. So they need to be worth the lost time health. I mean, they would be just little rooms that you find on the overworld, just like in the dungeons, with loot. Loot or maybe a bit of lore to read. Something like that. So yeah. It would be, so they should of course be something you want to find. Otherwise, there's no need to add them. But yeah, they would have some loot. Okay. So I can do make, release, no debug. and that uploads, that builds, uploads, that builds, bundles, that builds, strips, bundles, and uploads the Windows, the Linux build. In theory. In theory. Let's see. And it archives it. So it makes an archive with the debug symbols on my backup storage. And then it uploads it to this website. And because the app is compressed and only 20 megabytes, that's pretty fast. And now I should be able to do the same for the Windows build. But let's actually download this and test it. I think I can just use wget. No. Apparently not. It's not rangefinder. Classic. It's Rangedrifter. I was talking to a friend and he couldn't remember the name of the game because it's so what did I call it last time? It's generic, and he called it a rogue swinger. That's also a pretty good name. I should have called it that actually. Unzip RD. Okay, it works. And that came straight from the internet. README. Is that still accurate? I think so. Kind of. And the license is updated as well. Okay. Yeah, I don't need the build OBS file. My friend is right. In what way? Yeah, so it's not bad, Rangedrifter. Yeah, I think it's okay. So the problem is I had so many other ideas, so many much better ideas, but they were all taken by something else. Mostly other games, actually. But yeah, it's fine. Many rogue games have rogue in the game, in the name. That makes sense. So let's make clean this. Should be all gone. Let's do the same thing, but for Windows. Make, please. No debug. And Windows is 1. So I changed the flags to make them better. And ndebug is, yeah, it's a classic flag in C. So I just stole that. Okay, archiving Windows 15. And uploading. So Diego, if you want to, you can download the zip file. If you go to the website and say it's rangedrifter.com and then files and then rd windows 15.zip. You'll have to type that into your browser and then it'll download if I haven't mistyped it. Let me check. Windows 15 zip. Secure download blocked. Kidding me. Okay. So yeah, that's the URL. So it needs at least another 10 minutes. Some problem about it. Yeah, that's okay. No worries. That's fine. That's just so I can put it on the website, but I can do that tomorrow as well, so that there's no need to rush. So now for these spawn removal. So in the object, well, actually let's go through this. So here it is. Actually, let's go up the chain even more. This is start. Okay. So I'm in the on the landing screen. I decide to switch to the game. What it does is it creates a seed. It creates a copy of the game for the player, so that a copy of the world, I mean, so that the player can change the world, and I can use my editor simultaneously. Yep, and then I call start. And what start does is it generates the path, but that's not what we're interested in right now. Why is this indented? That's super weird. That threw me off. So yeah, if we're not building in release mode, then it throws you into the game immediately. Otherwise, it spawns you at the start of the path. So the normal game will spawn you at the start of the path. And this spawn function it generates the tiles. This is a function that's important. It generates all the stuff in the world that's randomly placed. That's the monsters, well, kind of. It's monsters, it's the corpses, it's the urns, but it's a mishmash. Some of them are static, some of them are generated. That happens here. It also cleans up markers that I use in the editor for locating things that aid in generating a path, for example. All that stuff, the whole world gets cleaned up and stuff gets placed. So it's basically it's made ready for the game. Then all entities are deleted. That's just safety for if this is if another game was played before this, just deletes all the entities. Then it resets the weather and the metrics. It initializes the entity map, so it spawns everything and places the player. Then it initializes the light map to 0. Hey Diego, welcome back. Can I see again the link? Yes. It's HTTPS rangedrifter.com/files/rd windows 15.zip. That's the release. So yeah, it loads all spawns all the entities. It sets the light map to 0, so it fades in once the game starts. And it sets the camera. And then finally it sets all the terrain chunks to dirty, so they all get retessellated. Not sure why that's needed, but I think that's because the path that was generated changes the topology of the world. So yeah, the problem is it's kind of in the entity map and kind of in the generate tiles function. So let's look at the generate tile function, because that's where the saga continues. So this goes through the whole world, tile by tile, all layers, all 3 layers, tile by tile, and then it removes stuff. It places the 10 path stones. Yes. It removes markers, it lowers steps, and then it does the whole thing again, but this time it places spawn markers. So this is the actual problem. It looks if the tile trying red now, thanks. It looks if the tile it is on is in the path, so it's not outside or off-world or somewhere. If there's an object there, don't do anything. Don't spawn markers on the first patch. Yeah, if it's the first tile patch where the player spawns, it doesn't spawn monsters. Just to be fair a little bit. There might still be monsters there because they were statically in the world. I don't actively remove them, which I maybe should. And then with a chance of 1 in 20, it places a spawn marker. And that spawn marker is what spawns in all the random stuff. So if I go into object.c, there's a spawn entity function. So the entity map moves with the player. It's just a rectangle around the player. If there's an object coming into the map because the player moved, this function is called. And it turns the object that's saved in the terrain into an entity with the new entity function. So you see this just gets a position. This doesn't get a object, but then I look up the tile and then I pass in the object ID that's in the tile. And yeah, Diego, it's okay. You just have to tell me if it launches and if it's kind of okay. The game closed correctly both from the menu and from the X button. There's something in particular that I need to test. No, just that it starts and that it's not completely weird. It launched, you mean? Or it's launch? Not sure what you mean. It's lunch? You're having lunch? So yeah, new entity, object ID. So if the object is the spawn marker that I place with a chance of 1 in 20, then I choose an entity to spawn there. And this is the function that haunts me. I remove the spawn marker, but it's still there. So choose entity is just choosing from a list. It chooses either a chest or a urn or a corpse or a plant. That's not really interesting. But this remove spawn function should prevent that you can game the spawn points, that you can walk away. The entity falls off the entity map, so it gets destroyed. You walk back over the spawn point that's still there somehow, and the entity respawns. So that means you can clear room of all the loot, walk away, come back, all the loot is back. So the remove spawn function is here in the tiles. So new entity gives me a position, of course, where I should spawn the entity. And then in the remove spawn function, I get the tile and I set the object on it to 0. In this test, I checked if it was a spawn point. And here I set it to 0. Sorry, I mean the game launches. Awesome. Yeah, that's actually enough. If it plays and has sound, I just wanted a short confirmation that it launches. So thanks. I'll actually can release it right now. Make edit. So it looks good. 12. Okay, we're jumping straight to 15. For some reason. Today is the 5th, I think. Yep. It's playable. Thanks. Awesome. So let's release this to the people. Download 15 and I kill the title. That should be okay. Probably. Okay. Okay, that downloads so fast. Okay, I've tested that one already. Let's check the link. Yeah. Should be fine. Alright. Andre, if you're listening, you have a new version to play with. Okay, so I don't get why this does not remove the marker. Let me see, spawn entity. So this is you know, there should be a setting option in the menu to change music volume. In the title menu. Yeah, I thought about that. It's a bit loud, I know. But it's strangely, I think it's not affected by the settings. Can that be? I think that can't be. Let's see. Okay, that's music. New game. Music off. Maybe I just turn the music off in the title menu. That's actually just as haunting as the music. Because from a UI perspective, that's a nightmare. But I could put I could make, so this could be solved by making a options menu. Right now I only have the in-game menu where the options are included, which is kind of weird already. But if I had options, then I could put them here. I'll write that down. Remove and music or add dedicated options menu also on land. It's an alternative to turn off music in the title menu. Quick and dirty fix. Yeah, because I think the music might get annoying. If it wasn't that aggressive, if it was the in-game music, maybe that would be better. Um, so if I go in the, let's leave that. If I go in the sound, and here in the landing screen, let me see, I have silence. But why is it ambience? I also can add this to music. Personally, I'm used to changing the game settings before starting a new game. That's interesting. But there won't be much to change in the beginning, at least. So there won't, I don't think there will ever be something that will change the gameplay. There might be visual toggles, but only accessibility. Rebinding keys is a big thing. Okay, there could be a couple of things, yeah. Let's add these silence first. Come on, silence. And then okay, I've never heard this before, so let's be safe and turn down the music. I'm just being overly cautious. Okay, need to build this in release. Hey Ethan, how's it going? Nice to see you. Steam stream seems to be working fine. Yeah. 145 wish list, heck yeah. Yeah, it's awesome. It's pretty awesome. I think it was 10 wish lists today. Again, that's awesome. Okay, I wanted to test this. Okay, Not playing music from random memory. That's good. Let's pull it up. Okay, that works. Let's listen a bit and hope for the best. I already audio programming is so scary to me because yeah, I was an audio engineer in a previous life, and often enough I changed a variable and it read random memory into the audio buffer, and that's my worst nightmare now. Because you will be throwing your headphones. Congrats on the new wish list. I was still back at 120. Thanks for the wish list, Diego. Okay, so remove spawn. I remove the object index at the tile. And how does the entity map move? So this code this took me so long to write because it's off by one hell. But what it does is actually pretty simple. It just moves the rectangle around the player, unloads everything it moved away from, and loads in everything it moved into. So this is where it shuffles around the entity pointers. It throws away entities that are now outside the map. And this is where it spawns. And this is the world position. This means entity map to world position, because entity map is relative to the player. Kind of. Yeah. So it converts the position to world position. And then, because this is a new spot that has to get loaded in, it spawns the stuff that is on this tile. And that's the function that's called. This spawn entity right here, which checks, is there a tile here in this entity map position that should be loaded? If not, then it just returns. And if there's not an object at this tile registered to be spawned, it also returns null. But if there is a tile and there is an object, it calls new entity with the position. And if it's a spawn pointer on the tile, it could be a tree, it could be a bush, but if it's a spawn pointer, it removes that's in this file, it removes the object index on the tile. And I don't get it, because it's not working. Am I setting it again, maybe? No. So that's the problem with the respawning loot. What are you working on today specifically? I've been fixing some bugs. So this bug is all about the that you can game the loot spawns. So the chests and the urns, if you walk far enough away from them, they will unspawn. And if you walk back, they will reappear. So, and it's not far, it's just a couple of screens, 1 or 2 screens. And if you walk back, all the loot is back there. So you can just walk back and forth the whole time and stock up. That's of course not what I want. So I remove the spawn once it's... So the world has all these spawn markers that are fixed in the world data. The entity map slides across and spawns entities on these markers. And I pull those spawn markers then from the world. So if the entity map comes back, it doesn't spawn them. This is the pulling out. Tile object is 0. But it's not working somehow. I'm guessing that's to help with performance. The entity map, yeah, it's just a tiny little portion of the world that is spawned around the player. So it's just off screen, basically, where you can't see it. But they just won't die. And it's really weird. So I'm removing the spawn if it's a spawn, but they still come back. And as we've seen, the test is right here. If there's a tile at this position and it has an object, so if it doesn't have one, it doesn't spawn anything. And I'm setting this tile object ID to 0. So it should not spawn the entity again when the entity map runs back over it. But it does. Okay, there are 3 calls an object. Okay, that's interesting. That's it. Okay, that's an initialize entity map, but that's only called once at game start. Then there's the moving of the entity map, and then it's the definition of the function. Don't get it. Let's test that again. Wait, I'll actually need to jump in the editor for that. Do I? Let's try it this way. Well, actually, I can just try it this way. Maybe, is that far enough? Nope. Not far enough. Okay, that's pretty deadly, but I survived. So it should actually respawn these webs, I think. So if I destroy them all. Let's walk 2 screens away and hopefully not die. Okay, that should be enough. And yeah, there they are. They're all back in shape. Oh, but actually they are not spawn markers. Oh, I think I'm completely misunderstanding the problem. Eureka. So I'm always seeing the static entities respawning. But I only tell the spawn markers. That's something completely different to not spawn again. So I actually need to also tell traps and enemies and what else to not spawn. Well, actually enemies should only not spawn again if you've killed them. Does that make sense? Or enemies should actually spawn again. Why not? So traps and containers should not spawn again. Let's look at the list. The list is here. Let's look at struct. Spawn. Okay, portals. They should definitely respawn. That would be bad. Let's go from top down. Object handles. Maybe a space here. Yeah, this is unused stuff. Axes, weapons, rings, amulets. Those don't exist on the tiles themselves. They are always in containers. Mushrooms should definitely not respawn. So let's go into the spawn entity function. And yeah, this should stay like this. What about the spawn markers? Anyways, so switch the tile object. If it's a mushroom, remove the spawn. That was at was here, so that is P and L. So mushrooms shouldn't respawn. There's no meat. Deer should deer come in with the spawn marker. So let's just remove all the spawn markers. Then all the monsters come in via spawn markers. And actually that's totally wrong. I placed them by hand, but they shouldn't despawn. They shouldn't be wiped off the map. Traps should maybe, let's leave them in. Thing is, these things should, so the mushrooms and the chests, etc., should only despawn if the player hit them. So let's think about this. The only thing I want to not respawn is the loot. Is that true? I think so. That means that I am, because the loot cannot move, chests are bound to where they are, as are the corpses. Man, these spawn markers make this so complicated. So I think the spawn markers should always be removed. That includes the mushrooms. And then if I go into the entity file, if I open a chest, I can remove the spawn at the position. This is, I don't like this because it scatters the functionality across files, but I don't see another way. Fuzzlings, 145 wish lists, nice, thanks. Yeah, it's awesome. I'm pretty happy. Okay, so chests are now gone, but I need the urns as well, which I'm never quite sure how to pronounce it. But that's in, it's also an entity, but I think an attack. And then killed by hero. I can put it here. Actually, I can put the chest also here. And bushes maybe, or corpses as well. Yeah, this is a better place. What am I... Wait, was this here the whole time? No. Or? No. What's going on? Um... CS diff. Oh, it wasn't there. Oh, it was there. So chests didn't respawn. Sometimes I think I'm losing my mind. When things pop up in the code that I've never seen before. But I think that's normal. The larger your code base grows. Where was I? I was in attack. Okay, here. Vases, chests, corpses. And this is defender. Yeah, I'm cutting the music for a second. And rebuild this. But I actually need to find loot now. So let's build this in debug actually. Okay. And something in here. Oh yeah, there's stuff in here. Awesome. So this should now have been removed from the tile map. Now I just have to survive moving 2 screens away. Yeah, but that's good loot. Oh, what is this? Oh. Okay, something worked. But so this sprite says 0. That's the sprite at index 0. So something was there and it took the tile, it took the whole tile with it. Oh, I think... No, I did clean the build, didn't I? What is going on? Okay, so I am removing the spawn. And removing the spawn just sets the object indexes to 0. Could it make less sense? Like run. That spot was good. That's gone. What does my bitrate say? Still good. That's awesome. Okay, let's go underground. That should be good. Let's destroy some more webs. Okay, I might survive this. Oh. That was close. Oh. Great. Let's try again. Okay, I'm blinded. It's bad. Oh, no spiders. What is happening? What is happening here? Sadly, I've completely gutted my debug mode. So I have no idea what's happening. These could all be... Could these be? Could they have been? All spawns? I think I have a... Let this running. Keep running for some background. I think I'm confusing something here. Because the chests... You don't hit them. You open them. Let me confirm. Yeah, they have 0 health, so they are indestructible. So they can only be destroyed here by opening them. And that's that. That still doesn't explain the weird tiles. Maybe it's got to do something with this. Oh, of course it does. Yeah, this is just stupid. So I'm setting the tile object to 0 in remove spawn, but then I access it a second later. That's super stupid. So I actually have to remove it here. Okay, let's shut this down real quick. Then run again. Actually, let's be safe. Close GDB as well. Just so that I have the new version. The rebuilt one. That, oh god. That's harsh. I did survive. Okay, I can test if these traps respawned. Not yet. Those didn't either, but I might just be not far enough away. Okay, that should be enough. At least the traps should be unspawned. Oh yeah, and it worked. I think. Where were the traps? They were here, I think. And they're gone. Yeah, monsters are all static, so they don't disappear. Actually, they reappear even. But that's fine. What's not fine is respawning loot containers, but those are still gone. And the traps don't respawn either. So let's call that progress at least. Let me look at the entities. The list of the entities again, if I've overseen something. And before that, in the objects file, so these are these things that spawn on these spawn markers. They are traps, they are mist particles, just for atmosphere. They are stones, corpses, herbs, deer, and mushrooms. So those all don't come back. Once you've seen them once, even if you run past them, actually. Is that true? Yeah, even if you run past them, they will be gone. So there's no backtracking at all. Is that okay? So if you leave a mushroom on the floor, it will be gone when you come back. Actually, I think this whole system is kind of screwed. Oh, but I know why I did it this way. So I could just... all these spawn markers are just one step removed. I could just place I could place all this stuff directly in the world once I built the path. But instead I place spawn markers that stand in for these things until the game actually begins, until the player actually reaches the point where they spawn. And I did that so I can adjust what spawns, if that makes sense, so that I can react to what the player does. If I plaster them all over the world at the beginning and don't ever change them, then that's all the player ever has to play with. But I could imagine yeah, what are the use cases actually? What are the use cases? Might be that I didn't think that hard about this. I mean, the obvious thing that comes to mind is giving the player potions when they are about to die, which is of course not what I'm going to do, but in that vein, keeping the game fair some kind of way. Sorry guys, early morning tomorrow, gotta go. That's fine, Diego. Thanks for checking the game, checking the Windows version, and thanks for hanging around. Have a good night tonight. And yeah, so I'm not quite sure why, because I could always, I can do the same thing with the loot generator that runs once you open a container. So the loot is not pre-generated as well. Good night, Diego. I think I might actually remove the spawn markers. I think that might actually be easier. So the question is, what problem does that solve? Me removing the markers. I mean, one problem is that it's obviously too convoluted, because I couldn't figure out what the problem was. So it would solve that problem. And that might be enough, actually. So how difficult is the change? I think it's not difficult at all. I just have to move the spawn logic into the generation. And that's it. That should actually be it. And the removal is then on a per entity basis. So there's a level playing field, and I can say remove the spawn of a mushroom when it is picked up. It's much better. And that should fix that. Yeah, it should take 10 minutes or something. And then I'll go through the entities. I decide which ones should not respawn and when, after what condition they should not respawn. And that'll be it. And then it will be good. So let's commit this first. Let's check in the sound. Make main menu music silent. That's not what that is. Sound. And then change here. Oh, that has to go in there as well. I think those are still correct. Yep. What did I change here? Was that the indentation? And there's nothing. Check out, unlock. Remove spawns. Prevent some things from respawning. Okay, so let's go into tile.c and I need object.c. At least. Let's start there. So the choose entity function, that's this here. Let's see where the spawn marker pops up, because I can remove that first, and that should create errors in all the places that I need to look. That's not what I wanted. Grep spawn marker, and that's just in these two places. Okay, so let's remove it. And I also need globals. Okay, spawn marker is gone. And then globals. It's not there at all. That's good. Kind of a sign that it's a weird thing. And then what I'm going to do is in the generator, where this thing adds the spawn markers, I'll explicitly choose what to put in. Already. So I skip the step of choosing at runtime. I do it at path generation time. And remove spawn is then irrelevant. So this all goes. And the choose entity function is, first of all, has a wrong name. Should be choose object. Let's move it here. Let's call it choose object. Pixel matching object to place. Turns a weighted random object to spawn long path. Okay, I think that's a bit better. Choose. Let's call it away object. And it doesn't use the position, so that's okay. So I'll also don't use it here. And then that's it. It's gone from here. Oh, the way function. Oops. Is only used here, I think. Okay, vary is something different that needs to be done at runtime. But yeah, this should still work. See if I removed everything here. I think it was just this one call. So in the entity file, where I remove the spawn, let me look at that function. Yeah, that just doesn't care what's there, it just sets it to 0. So that's good. So what do I want to have removed. So chest, if you open a chest, it's gone. If you open a door, it's gone. Probably. Well, actually, let's leave it open. Let's not get ahead of ourselves. But if I pick up an item, it's gone. And if I open a wall, then that's gone as well. Those are the secret walls. I think that's it. Oh, if I walk on a trap, it should be gone. Yeah, let's be fair. And the same for webs. Web should also be gone. I should put these calls at the end. Fire is... Yeah, you can't walk on fire right now. Yeah, what about enemies? Oh, I have these vases. Corpses. What else is there? Let me see. Tree, rock, root. Boulders. Boulders should respawn. Chests. Corpses, walls. Mist. Yeah, mist should not respawn. Should respawn. Yeah, I think that's pretty much it. These are just region markers. Path stones, of course. Gates, ledges, porches, steps, tunnels, stairs, doors, traps, all the monsters. Deer. Deer shouldn't respawn. But deer walk around. So I haven't thought about that. So if I kill a deer, I can't remove the spawn at the position where I killed it because it might have walked around. And there's actually no spawn there. It walked away from its spawn. So I forgot about that. So let's check if I do something stupid here. But these are all static here. Chests, traps, webs. These are all static. They don't move. So that works. So what about deer? I could make it so that they only spawn once. Let's do that. Otherwise you can farm them, which is not what I want. So in new entity or yeah, new entity, switch. It's a deer. Then That's the only time this deer is spawned. Actually, let's make it an if case. Switch case is a bit dramatic. And I already have a switch case here, so let's do that. That's the downside of having a tiny little window. Forgetting to close the other side. So yeah, I mean, this is enough. So yeah, that's good. So this is not that intuitive. So if a trap spawns and you walk past it, you don't see it, you don't activate it, you just walk past it. And then you return, it'll still be there. But if you activate it by accident, and then you walk away, if you come back, it will be gone. Same thing with food on the ground, but not with deer. If you walk past a deer far enough and it unloads, it's gone forever. So that's okay, I think. And monsters, if you kill the monsters, walk away, come back, monsters reappear. So that's the rules right now. And same for chests and urns and corpses. If you activate them and loot them, if you activate them, they will not come back. That's what I wish. So let's see if that actually is actually the case. Okay, I need a place. Okay, here's a corpse. That should be gone good now. So let's remember the spot. Of course it snakes around here. Oh, these are strong. What's going on? Okay, I should be far enough away. Let's see. It's still gone. I can see it from here that it's not there. But I'm not sure if I was far enough away. So let's walk a bit more and maybe even loot this place and then return to it. Okay, that's good loot. Yeah, it's pretty much gone. The stone respawned. So something actually happened here. And of course I don't have food. So let's hurry up. And see. Drum roll. Are they gone or are they still there? All the containers. They are gone. I call that a victory. Awesome. Right. Let's check this in. Remove spawn. Fix. Food. Not despawning. And yeah, I think that's it. All right, that's some kind of progress today. After all these days fighting the bitrate wars, but we won. Good progress, yeah. I would have liked to add some more weapons, or weapon skins rather, but I'll maybe do that off stream. I still need to add interiors. Missing interiors and the secret overworld stuff. Let me actually look at the to-do file. So yeah, make +1 +2 gear unique balancing. I mean, I worked on the balancing. Can't backtrack anymore. And consumables and ammunition. Yeah, that's just more playing. But I am behind actually. Make save files upgrade after stream. Well, I have this. So I have half of this. I have playtest and I have a buffer and I have balance and polish. So I'm not that far off. But yeah, the bitrate debacle really costs a day or two, but that's okay. So yeah, I'll do the gear. I still have to make a short today, but these usually only take 15 minutes, so that's fine. And yeah, I should maybe reprioritize these. As you can see, they are not that critical. There's nothing game-changing here. So yeah. I wonder, did you do something specific to gain new wish lists? I remember that it was 50 a few days ago. I think I wish to think that it's just word of mouth, but I think also part of it is the shorts on YouTube and the videos on YouTube. So I just upload the VODs from Twitch to YouTube and I make shorts about every day. A 10-second clip of the game, and those get 1,000 views. Not every single one, but some of them got 1,000 views, and I think people find the game through that, or maybe through the Steam store. I'm not quite sure actually. Yeah, it's super nice. It's slowly climbing. I mean, slowly. It's accelerating pretty fast. So let's see if it stays that way, or if we'll have a calmer period, which I'm not opposed to. But yeah, I'll just keep making shorts and see what happens. Let me actually look if I can see where the wishlisters came from. No. But there might be a way somewhere. Yeah, but the Steam backend is, I'm not familiar enough. No idea. No idea where the people come from, but I think it's mostly YouTube. Probably. Okay, I can see that there are millions of Steam users online. Huge amount. That's it. That's not interesting at all, actually. Everybody knew that. Okay, let me push this and then end stream. Make clean. Make status or CS clean. And then make push. Okay, what did I do? Prevent players from not from backtracking, from what's it called? Exploiting. Let's try it different. I think it's a good thing that people from YouTube convert to wishlists. Yeah, the comments on YouTube are super nice. Many people are really interested in the game, especially with how strange it looks at first. It's probably not that easy to find such determined people on YouTube, and it gives hope for good wishlist sale conversion later. Yeah, so I actually I'd rather have a small community around the game, but that's dedicated, than have it blow up. But it's scattered, and it's consume it and then leave. If you know what I mean. So yeah, I'm pretty happy with how enthusiastic many people on YouTube are in their comments. I mean, it would be difficult to convince me to wishlist anything when I'm on my phone, you know, opening another app, etc. Yeah, yeah. I don't even know how people do it. So I've never actually used the. That's not true. But it's been years and years since I used the YouTube app on a smartphone. So I actually don't know how you would navigate that. But yeah, it's friction. That's for sure. Especially in Shorts, yeah, where you're in scrolling mode. That's true. Makes me hopeful for you. Thanks. Yeah, I'm hopeful as well. But yeah, this is just the beginning. Who knows where this leads? But yeah, we'll see. What kind of a game this becomes in the end. But yeah, so I remove or prevent loot from respawning. And then I did something else, but remove spawn markers. Replace spawn markers. Okay, I compiled OBS from scratch. Then I actually uninstalled Debian. We installed Debian 12. Yeah, that was great. Compile OBS, test stream. I did that. Make the makefile better. Prevent loot from respawning. Place spawn markers. And did something else. Oh, I released a preview version. All right. Yeah, that's about it. All right, I'm going offline. Oh, I don't have my backup on. That's okay. I'll do that in a second. I'll be... That was a crazy cut. Let me turn that back on. Okay. Then not, maybe. Thanks for the streams. Yeah, thank you for watching. See you soon. I'll be live until release. So feel free to come in whenever you want. And yeah, I'll be back tomorrow. What is it? Wednesday. Probably in the afternoon. Yeah. And then probably bug fixes and more bouncing. That's what I'll do. All right, Fuzzlings. Thanks for watching, and I'll see you the next time. And all you others too. Thanks for following today. See, a couple people followed. That's awesome. And yeah. Okay, that's a crazy emote. Awesome. All right. Good night. Bye.